And apparently we are live yet again. So this is the second attempt at the Broken Brain Broadcasting Network. So let me just see if this is actually up. See what's going on. Apparently it says I'm live. Yep, I be the lives. So this is going to be my second attempt at a 325 subscriber live stream. So if you happen to be a subscriber to the channel, or not, and you want to ask reasonable questions, I will happily answer them. So if you're curious, please chime in. And if you're not curious, please also chime in. So right now it's just me participating, which is kind of boring in a way. So we will just wait to see what type of fun and interesting individuals tend to show up. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Michael. That is my real name. My named video or is the stroke assaulter. That's because, well, I had a stroke and almost 3 years ago. Yeah, getting up to my third birthday. Unfortunately, we couldn't really celebrate my second birthday last year because COVID really, shot that to fuck. So, one second. One of my friends online has recently had a TIA, or transient ischemic attack, also known as a mini stroke. One second. So hang around for a while, see people show up. So basically the channel is about me, my stroke, my stroke recovery, which was really, that happens in the hospital, the rehabilitation, the reintegration, that, the stumbles and travels of a stroke folk. And, what, so. But fortunately, I don't have any mods. So, and no, I don't mean those British kids running around in Vespas and bomber jackets. For those of you that get that reference, great. Oh, somebody's here. So the channel is really about my stroke recovery, things of that nature. I've documented most of the things that have happened. There's some things I've yet to document. For those that would be curious, I'm going to be doing some more content about some life changes per se, things of that nature. So, oh, look, Ames is here. Hey, Ames, how's it going? Ames is a friend of mine in Ontario, not stroke folk, but I met her through the Jeff Holiday channel. So, in fact, Ames has encouraged me to try to work the word vajuder into almost potentially every sentence I use, or at least one conversation a day. So, checkbox achieved. I've used the word vajuder in a conversation. So far, it's just Ames and I hanging out in the Broken Brain Broadcasting Network. There was a third there for a while, but apparently they stumbled off madly in some other direction. So for those of you that aren't from Canada or Canada A, currently we are experiencing here in Ontario the 5th Canadian winter. Yes, I kept the stash. It's, I recently joined the Sam Elliott Mustache Impersonation Club. So I'll probably end up getting some wax or something and do the whole, Snidely Whiplash. And then I'll invest in a railway company. At that point, I'd need a protagonist that's a Mountie. So who knows? Yeah, the winds are pretty crazy today. It's and saying that things are crazy in the schwa is pretty crazy in and of itself. But yes, the top hat. I rock a top hat. Yeah, totally. Not a bowler though, like a proper top hat. So yeah, it's unfortunately the winds have been crazy. I'm in Aurelia, which is about 130 kilometers north of Tirana. So, oh, sorry, Ames. So anyways, it's 132 kilometers, about 100-ish miles north of Toronto. And the weather has been a bit interesting for the last 6 days up here. It's been gray. It's been rainy-ish. It's been gray and rainy-ish. It's been rainy-ish and gray. It was rainy-ish, gray, and pelletized snow. Not Peloton, no, because those are just high-speed treadmills. You're all going to be recycling in 2 years. But it was pelletized snow today. This is now the 5th or 6th Canadian winter. All we now need is a giant wall, snow zombies, and dire wolves. And that will be about that. Yeah, but I'd have to go to a haberdasher to get, don't say what, snow zombies, dire wolves, a large wall. I don't want to have a theological debate that involves meteorological context. So I reject your assertion of some form of weather deity or deities. Yep. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just know that you're incorrect. That's all. Just going to put that out there. Yeah, so it's been a bit crazy up here, and we are in April, which traditionally in the Canada has a bit atrocious weather, but right currently it's unpredictable. Well, I can't reject all of your reality and substitute my own. No, it's not possible because you are real. We have interacted. So well, what if you're a delusion? I hadn't considered that as a delusion. Wow, that got deep quick. That's a rabbit hole we're not going to stumble down. But later in the next half hour, we are going to cover demon planes. Yes, demon planes. For those of you that don't know what that is, please do not Google that. That'll be a rabbit hole that I can't be held accountable for. Yeah, so basically this is the channel. I've gotten to 325 subscribers. I realize that I haven't done a lot of promotion lately. It's because I haven't really generated a great deal of content. There's some reasoning behind that. So yeah, there's some reasons which I will get into in 15-minute little videos at some point. You know, try not to bore the entire world with all of the stories, but yeah, so I haven't generated a lot of content since about June-ish of last year, which is, that's on me. I've had some requests for generating of content, like someone asked if I could do something on stroke and constipation. So I'm working on researching that. Someone asked if I could do something on spiritualized guilt, so to speak. And I'm going to take it from a spiritualogical aspect, not just a specific religious aspect, because anytime when there's a codified set of beliefs where you don't believe hard enough, you're not believing the right way, be that Scientology, no, Mr. Cruz, don't send your army after me, be that the Nexium cult, which I have so many questions about, but that's neither here nor there. Be it Christianity, be it Islam, be it Judaism, be it, you know, whatever. If you're in a codified group that has specific practices and rituals, and people are of the like mind that, well, you don't believe hard enough, you're not believing the right way, you're not practicing your faith or the tenets of your lifestyle the right way. The reason why shitty things have happened to you is solely because of your lack of belief, your lack of foundation. You know, that can be pretty taxing to deal with. So yeah, I'm going to do that one. Working on some PTSD and stroke, because I've had a stroke, and because of the stroke, I have the PTSD. Yay. Oh, I've got a calendar. Hold that thought. What did I do with it? There it is. I totally forgot about this. Completely forgot. That had to be pretty, not. Okay, so I'm on an airsoft team, and we did a calendar called the Cockshots. Yeah, so this calendar was produced to support a veterans charity that deals with PTSD, and we play airsoft. We're like big kids playing G.I. Joe, really. So this calendar, the Cockshots. Right? So, bit of a shameless plug. So, the photography was done by Trevor Baldwin. The option B is the airsoft team. That's something else. You'll get to that in a minute. That's Shrike Airsoft. The calendars can be purchased through Shrike Airsoft. And the graphic art was done by Graphic Rule. Right? So, Graphic Rule and Shrike. Oh, there you go, Trevor. Trevor's no longer at that phone number. He's moved, but he can be found. So there's this thing called the Big Purple Cock right there. Okay. So this is Ethan and Sean. They're a father-son team. And there was February. And there's March. That's me. I was Mr. March, Mr. Shiny. There's a long story behind that. So that is me with a Kalashnikov riding a big purple cock. And then there's me over here leaning, because at this point the big purple cock was having problems with structural integrity, so it needed something to lean on. So, and then that would be me at a game. So every month. Now that is Dave. He is the owner of Shrike. So you can go to shrikeairsoft.com I believe it is. Yeah, sharkairsoft.com. You can order a calendar if you want. I believe they were $20. I'm not sure. But it includes pictures of guys on the team. It doesn't include, there's no shots of gratuity, right? There are moments of being inappropriate, like there we are with a cock and balls. You need to hold still a little longer. The video quality isn't great. Oh, must be internet problems. I wonder why. Well, I'll be getting new internet shortly, so that won't be a problem. So this, if you want, I totally forgot I had this. So yeah, I did a calendar last year. Sorry, uncomfortable, 100-year-old wooden chair and table. Better. So yeah, it was a calendar we did. It was in support of all the proceeds that the calendar generated went to a veterans-based PTSD charity. I forget which one. Shrike would know better than I, because they actually published it. But yeah, we did a calendar. It was kind of a fun time. Having served in the armed forces here in Canada, and then also having non-service related PTSD, I get how PTSD, because you don't ask for it, it just kind of magically shows up in your world. So, and for everyone that gets it, it shows up for different reasons in different ways at different times. And I had legitimately no expectation that I'd be getting the PTSD. I got the PTSD due to a stroke, which is, fun times. Let me tell you, not really. So. The only problem with this mustache is you start catching food, like. And I went looking for hair glue today, and I had no other way to explain it. So I asked the young lady from the cosmetics section, like to get a mohawk, and the look she gave me was like, "You don't have enough hair for a mohawk." Yeah. So yeah, because I don't have enough hair for a mohawk. I legit don't. So, but with a little bit of the, I guess it's, I had two options. There was the spiky version and the invincible version. I was like, do I want to be spiky or invincible? You said that when you asked if you should keep it. Lols. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get either the invincible version or the spiky version. So I'm not sure what personality my mustache will have. It'll be invincible or spiky. So or it could be invincibly spiky. Hmm. Let me just check one thing. Oh, excuse me. That was naughty. Fortunately, due to the medication, I got a bit of the gas. The gas. So, apparently there's now 4 people watching. So, hello, the 2 new people, whoever you might be. Great to see you. But so, yeah, this is the channel. It's about stroke recovery. Apparently, 1 person left. Picked the wrong room. I'm cool with that. Whatever. Could have said I've at least said hi. Um, and this is my first live stream, so I'll be moving in the near future. Uh, so still looking for a new place. So there'll be probably a small break in there when I can't upload because I'll be doing the movings. So, and then getting situated into the new place, wherever that is yet. At that point, I'll have better internet quality. So, because it was kind of limited what I could get where I am. Hmm. So apparently there is a 3rd person here. I just don't know who it is. Now I'm curious. Who's that 3rd person? Dun dun dun. So let's see. Oh, let's talk about Crash. Crash is no longer here. Not to say Crash is dead, because Crash isn't dead. Crash is quite okay. Crash was the property of my girlfriend at the time. We have parted ways. There's nothing good or bad about that. That's just something that happened. Unfortunately, the relationship was a victim of the stroke and some other issues surrounding the stroke. Crash is fine from all I know. And so he won't be joining us again, unfortunately. Yes, thank you, Ames. I do have a fluff Crash. I'm just not sure where he is right now. Thank you. You did send me that. Thank you. I'm not sure where he is right now. I'll be quite honest, because everything is in a bit of a tip because I've been purging and packing. So to get through the move easier. So, oh, someone else came in and left. Interesting. So once I get situated and moved, I will probably get my own cockatiel once I have everything sorted out. Because however, right now with Ontario being on like end of world lockdown, there's no idea when that's going to happen. Because here in the province of Ontario, they've actually canceled the majority of the world. Yeah. So they've canceled most of the world. Right now, the Ontario lockdown is supposed to end 2 weeks, I think. But that's, to be determined. We don't know what the government's going to do, if anything at all. Because, it's Canada and our government is highly ineffective. But I'm not going to go on a political rant because, that would go bad. And I would probably get the channel taken away and helicopters would be heard overhead and, all that good stuff. Just needless to say, I highly disagree with the policies and procedures our federal government is currently undertaking in their misguided and childish attempts at managing a relatively unmanageable situation, which they've made worse by their lack of leadership. But that's all I'm going to say on that. Yeah, it is foolish. It's completely foolish. You're right. But just remember, you can take your kids to the park. Just don't put them in a swing because you might get a ticket. However, I'm in Aurelia. Yes, I just doxed myself. There is a rather fashionable bakery in downtown Aurelia called Mariposa Market. Not sponsored, but I would happily take the odd London fog and apple fritter in the form of remuneration for constant mentioning that Mariposa Market. And I figured I had to go just run a couple errands. I figured I would stop by and get an apple fritter in a London fog. Well, it turns out all the idiots decided to come north this weekend, and they pretty much emptied out Mariposa Market. Like the display cases were bare. You can buy makeup, but you can't buy spatulas? No. So how are you going to be like an emo kid and cook pancakes? How's that going to happen? Because you can be the emo kid, you just can't cook pancakes. You really can't buy a spatula. That's fucked up. Thank God I didn't invest in that spatula store. Fuck. While you at work, the government's declared my product non-essential. Like, that's ridiculous. You'd have to be super emo and steal it. Well, yeah. Just don't do to Walmart. They got cameras everywhere. No cooking stuff for housewares? Housewares. No yarn? No yarn? Just in, Canada's placed an embargo on yarn. Scotland is reeling. Wow. No yarn. Who puts a ban on yarn? That's no yarn. Imagine going to jail. What are you in for? I did the yarn. Fuck. No yarn. Thank God I didn't invest in Yarn Barn. No yarn. That's just messed up. Now I want to know who that third person is because you're quiet. Tell me. Playing around with my chat settings to see if I can figure it out. The government apparently. Oh yeah, well yeah, okay. Stabbing people with knitting needles. Well, you've got to be committed, or you've got yarn needles that will kill. You know, um, fuck. Like that, who bans yarn? Who bans yarn? Because if you have yarn, you can make clothes. But apparently clothes is an essential. So Canada's going to become a nudist colony? Whatever, I don't know. That's just, unfortunately, and I don't mean to say this lightly, because, and if the YouTube censors are going to, you know, try to shit can a video, let me just say this right now. COVID is a complete and total horrible thing. COVID is a serious public health issue. It's working on like being a quademic, because you've got the original Wuhan strain, then you've got the British and Brazilian strain, which are currently the two variants of concern in Canada. You then have the South African strain, which is just like chilling with a bottle of wine right now, not doing much of anything. There's then the Filipino strain, and then recently we have the Indian strain of COVID. So, like, there's 6 variants of COVID. The Indian one, not such a deal over here right now. Right now, it's predominantly the Brazilian and the United Kingdom strain of COVID that is being the issue here in Ontario specifically. COVID's wretched. Province of Ontario has approximately 1,400 ICU beds, approximately, and and that's without special funding to open more beds. Uh, Currently in the province of Ontario, on average, you have about 650 to 720 ICU beds being occupied on any given day. Right? Oh, we spiked up to 5 and now down to 3. So nice to see you. COVID's a thing. It's a wretched, wretched thing. And unfortunately, Anthony, hey, how's it going? Anthony J. Brown. Nice to see you. Don't know if you've been a long-standing member of the channel, and if you're not, great. If you are, even better. So COVID here in Ontario is going to get horribly worse. In some ways, I think the government doesn't know what to do. So they're like grabbing the magic 8 ball of decision making and just hoping they get a different answer. I don't know. I don't have the answers. If I did, they wouldn't want to put me in charge anyways, because that'd be drastically horrible. But yeah, COVID's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And what it's going to take to get better, even the experts are up in the air. Right? At least we're no longer talking about the insertion of ultraviolet butt plugs in the mainlining of Lysol. Right? Not that that's a thing. That is totally not a thing. Right? Neither is any other like silver nitrate solution or miracle mineral solution. That's just bullshit. The only thing it cures is your kind of money. So, but the government's banned yarn. Yeah, that's smart. Yes, Ames, I just did say butt plugs. You are correct. Yes. In fact, ultraviolet butt plugs. Yeah, I said that. Yeah. So, right now the experts in COVID, nobody really knows. I'm researching some content to do an update video about COVID and stroke. Because initially when COVID came out, I did a COVID and stroke because there were some interesting numbers at the time. I'm finishing up the research on a video about COVID and stroke just to make sure I get the numbers right. And also in reference to neurological events and the COVID vaccine, because that's currently a hot button topic as well. Again, I'm not saying don't take the vaccine. And I'm not saying the vaccine is harmful. I'm just saying right now there are some interesting numbers that, for those that had a neurological injury, we need to be a bit more concerned about things. And in this case, the things are the vaccine or COVID itself. So, Anthony, I'm just kind of curious, what part of the world are you in, and how did you find the channel? Yes, Ames, of course. You just wanted to make sure. Yeah, no. Unfortunately, right now there's no ability to do any real long-term research. Right? Well, the closest thing we might have with a clinically significant example would be the Spanish flu. Now, keep in mind though, during the Spanish flu, they didn't actually know it was a flu or an influenza until about 1925, 1930. So it was a good 20 years after the Spanish influenza. They knew it was like an influenza. And then they didn't have the ability to map the genome of it until I believe the 90s. But keep in mind a couple of things. And people, they tend to forget history. So 1917 to say 1922, just for the period of the Spanish flu or that outbreak, we did not have antibiotics. Now, antibiotics don't treat the flu. Yes, that is true. However, antibiotics will treat some of the secondary symptoms of the flu, like the pneumonias, They also didn't have ventilators. They did have some ventilator type equipment, but not like we have today. So they also didn't have the ability to do rapid screening. Oh, sorry. So you had a stroke as well, Anthony. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully you're doing okay in your post-stroke journey. I'm assuming that's what it says. I had a strong two. Interpolate that as having had a stroke as well. So I'm sorry to hear that. So you'd be one of my stroke folk. So with COVID, we have antibiotics, so they can treat some of the secondary symptoms, secondary side effects like pneumonia or some of the other bacterial infections you'll get. They didn't have ventilators, so now people need to go on ventilators. So they didn't have those back then. They didn't have the ability to do rapid screening. Right? There was never a vaccine that was created for Spanish flu. It just died off. Right? The Spanish flu just went away. Why did it go away? Better public health measures. Enough people had mass exposure, so it created its own herd immunity. People just got better at self-isolating, so it couldn't jump person to person, household to household. So, however, today with the internet, yay, and the anti-vax, anti-COVID, anti-mask population, they just don't get it. And it's not a case of, it's like algebra. You just don't get it. It's a case of they don't understand. In some cases, what they're saying. Because I have a friend who is an ICU nurse, and from the information that I've been given, essentially, once you get vented, things don't look good at that point. And COVID isn't taking out the usual suspects, right? Typically, with a pandemic or a massive viral infection like this, it's going to take those that are under age of 6 because they're young and they haven't licked enough doorknobs yet. Those that are over 60 because they've already had the opportunity to lead a rather unhealthy life, and those that are pre-existingly sick, right? COVID's not doing that. COVID's knocking down like 10-year-olds. COVID's knocking down 30-year-olds, and it's not being discriminatory. And, people go to a wedding and you encounter someone with COVID, you get COVID, you bring it home, but it didn't kill anyone that went to the wedding. It killed people outside that circle. And that's happened in more than one occasion where people have gone to a social function and unfortunately have gotten people sick. So yes, and it is not any of the current conspiracy stuff, unfortunately, because then it'd be predictable and more easily defeated, unfortunately. Yeah. So yeah, so this is the 325 live stream special. I'll be doing more live streams eventually, specifically after I moved, because there'll be a better stable internet connection, because I'll be moving down to the big city probably. Don't know which city yet, so we're okay. But I might take a photograph of this just to green screen it to fuck you people up. I have to learn how to green screen. Fuck. But so the channel is essentially my journey post-stroke. I'm having some 3D props printed. No, they're completely G-rated props. So anyone that quickly find their mind crawling into the gutter, you can just hold that thought. So I'm having some props printed for a couple of episodes. Yeah, I guess it's episodes or segments. I'm not sure what the right word would be. And then at that point, we'll do some of that. You'll have to wait and see what they are. I've got to wait to get them. And then also, I'm going to share. I'm back in occupational therapy currently. trying to do the return to work deal. Don't know where I'm going to return to work yet because my current slash soon to be former employer would be less than appropriate. So that will, don't know what I'm going to do yet. So I have no idea. I legitimately don't know what I might even attempt to do. So not even sure. So Anthony, how far are you in your own post-stroke journey? No, we wait. Yeah, and unfortunately with the COVID, there's just too much conspiracies going on. Unfortunately, it's a bit ridiculous, to be quite honest. I'm just wondering, Anthony, because it says you had a strong two, so I'm assuming that meant stroke. Or did I misread that? Oh, when did I have mine? I had mine on June 21st, 2018. Approximately 10:10 in the morning. Yeah, so just kind of curious, Anthony, how far are you in your own journey? Like how far have you come? Was it hemorrhagic? Was it ischemic, moderate, massive, mild? Not like it's hot sauce. It's like I had a mild stroke. It's not like a picante that you put on a taco. You know, unfortunately, your brain trying to kill you is your brain trying to kill you. Oh, pretty bad. Mm, that's not good. Not that any stroke is good. No, not that any stroke is good. That's for sure. Um, Definitely, it's a bit of a shit sandwich. That's for sure. Definitely, not a fun time. Because I went from standing up at work um, to having some difficulties to the floor, and then I remember being loaded on the ambulance, and that ambulance. I'm in Canada, so the ambulance got to 120 kilometers an hour, which would be 80s-ish miles, I think. Someone could do the math in the background and let me know down in chat. Um, and yeah, and luckily the nearest neuro trauma center is just 32 kilometers or 20 some miles down the street from me. So um, down the highway. Uh, so yeah, unfortunately, yeah. And if you've had a massive stroke or a quote unquote pretty bad stroke, yeah, I've personally seen what that looks like. My grandmother, she actually had my stroke on her birthday, yet she'd still be alive. Um, she had her and I probably had the exact same stroke, so to speak. Uh, Difficulty was nobody knew when she went down, so they couldn't do treatment. Like, so people watched me thunder in, um, and so they knew when I went down, so I could be given the appropriate treatment. In my case, it was TPA because I had an ischemic stroke, but they didn't know when she went down. She was still cognitively there. She was still there. She just couldn't really talk. Um, she had she had expressive aphasia to the point where she could really only say three, maybe four words. You know, and if she did get out a sentence, you could see, like physically see the level of discomfort and just effort that took. Yeah. So yeah, that was not a good time. Anyways, so I've seen what pretty bad looks like personally. It sucks. I'm sorry you have to go through that. I can only imagine how difficult that is. So was yours ischemic or hemorrhagic? Just curious. If you don't want to say it, that's cool too, because I don't want to, commit a HIPAA violation. Because I'm not like a First Amendment stroke auditor. That doesn't exist. For those of you that get that reference, perfect. I still can't believe that spatulas are illegal right now. What made you smile? James, what made you? It made me smile. It made me smile. It is what? Dare I ask? Do I want to know? Yep. Oh, the auditor joke. Yes, yes. So for those of you, and this is the director right now to Anthony, if you don't know what an auditor is, uh, predominantly it's an American thing. Now, again, I'm Canadian, not hating on the Americans. Other than the fact you don't know what maple syrup is, you call it table syrup. Um, People that go around trying to, best way to phrase this, they try to enforce a constitutional right that doesn't need enforcing because it's considered a convention that you have it. And then they try to go and do this in places where there's rules that you can't do it, and then want to know why they're being arrested. Yeah, yeah. Superstore and Loblaws. Okay, so for those of you that aren't in Canada, um, a Colander, is it like a Zoolander, but two of them? Um, oh, 15% stroke. Oh, so Superstore and Loblaws. So if you're not in Canada, they're a grocery chain. have made the decision to sell certain things at their stores. Walmart and other places have blocked off. I haven't been to Walmart. I don't know how long. A colander? You mean like the thing you strain with spaghetti that you put on your head to wear? Yeah, in now, Anthony, in relationship to percentages, I don't know my percentage. I'll be quite honest. Um, I've read the emergency room reports. Aposta strainway? What is it, like a Scottish thing? Hi, can I get a strainway? Um, so I don't know the percentages of my stroke. I have read the emergency room reports. Um, on the Glasgow coma scale, was doing pretty decent, but on some like international stroke scale, I was scoring like high. I was in the mid range of the moderate score. So, um, I don't know what deficits you're facing, and I'm not asking you to disclose that in any way because that's up to you. I still have foot drop on my right hand side. Occasionally, I will trip over completely not fat concrete, because I think everyone trips over fat concrete. I trip over flat concrete. It's really only fat if Jimmy Hoff is in there anyway. So let's be honest. Um, I still have some speech problems. Uh, I'm still sensitive to lights. Learning to deal with that a little bit better. I still need sunglasses in some stores. I still have. I can't handle like the music and the din of movement in stores. So I put a podcast on, right? So I usually listen to My Favorite Murder uh, by Karen in Georgia. If you've never listened to My Favorite Murder, shameless plug. I'm not sponsored by them in any way. It's a true crime murder mystery podcast that's comedy-ish. Yes, your friend Ames did have a level 6 stroke. I've never heard it described by levels, but yeah, that's not good. But so I have to listen to a podcast when I'm in a store. I still have some other deficits here and there. It's like my sleep is completely messed up. Oh, a bleed stroke. So yeah, you had a hemorrhagic. Yeah, as opposed to the clot, which is ischemic. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna Google level 6 stroke. That's something I don't know. Yes, I realize I just admitted I don't know a thing. I get it. You can choose to hold that over my head at some point in the future. Level 6 stroke. Oh, yes, the NIH stroke scale. Okay. Well, we use the NIH scale here because that's what they scored me on. So let me just see. So if she had a level 6 stroke, she would have been in the moderate range. Because 0 is no stroke. If you score 0 on the stroke scale, guess what? You haven't had a stroke. So this NIH scoring system is something they use as an emergency room tool between paramedics and the emergency room and the neurosurgeons and whatnot to do like a quick assessment. You get scored on various things, and it helps them make a very quick and dirty decision. Is this a neurological event or not a neurological event? Is this, something going on? So, and in various countries, they're going to use various screening tools. This is just one of them. The National Institute of Health Stroke Scale So it's a scored test that involves cognitive and physical reactions. There's a score of 0, which means you're not having a stroke, to a score of 42, which is the worst case scenario. Um, which, if you scored a 42, you would be getting the most severe, devastating stroke going on. So if you score 0, that's not a stroke. 1 to 4, minor. 5 to 15, moderate. I was in that moderate range. I believe I was 12, if memory serves. I'd have to find the paperwork. It's in a box somewhere. Oh, you're in Miami. Cool. Road trip, your place. 15 to 20 is moderate to severe. And now here's a range: 21 to 42, severe. So they give you a 20-point spread gap, is a severe stroke. So some of these things are pretty simple. Like, they're going to ask you to puff out your cheeks, because obviously, if you can't puff your cheeks out at all, or one side puffs but the other side doesn't, because you've got some of that droopiness going on and you don't have a good positive air seal. Can you raise your arms? Can you follow someone's eyes? Can you recite the days of the week? So everything gets scored. And, like, one thing they'll have you do is squeeze the hands, right? And depending on how you score, depends on how bad you're gonna score on the scale or not. Again, 0, not having a stroke. 42, yeah, you're probably not long for the world then. Oh, you're down in Miami. That's got to be good weather right now. Well, I'll trade you some Canadian snow. And I don't mean like the stuff up your nose. I mean actual snow, because it's falling. Yes, fast. Face, arms, speech, time. Now, there's the American Heart and Stroke Association has changed that to B fast. So the B is balance. The E is eyes, meaning for visual disturbance, and then face, arms, speech, and then time, meaning get them to the appropriate doctor, hospital type setting. So, but those are the classic, quote unquote, Um, those are the classic symptoms. Not everyone's going to have the fast or the P fast, right? Like, I had balance problems. Um, uh, and these aren't like you woke up because you've had a little bit too much to drink the night before and you're going to work just a little bit hung. Not that. This is like sudden, like almost, it's like a light switch click. Like, I went from walking to, I lost my sense of balance pretty quickly. Um, uh, and then visual disturbances. I did not have any visual disturbances, so that could be seeing a grayscale, can't move your eyes in a certain direction, you only see a little dot in the world. So then you have the facial droop. Now, facial droop can be measured in certain ways. One, there will be a visual drooping. I can't do it without a finger helping. In some cases, you can't smile effectively. You can't, like, stick your tongue out. You can't move your tongue. So there's many things they'll have you do with the face, like, again, the puffing of the cheeks. And then you have the arms. Can you raise your arms equally effectively, or at all? Uh, you know, and do you have the ability to stand unaided? Like me, it's like floor, done. I couldn't stand. Uh, and then speech. For me, I have what was called inappropriate words, or inappropriate usage. Inappropriate words. Yeah, inappropriate words. Not what you think it means. No. It means that contextually my answers weren't correct. I remember the paramedic asking me questions in the back of the ambulance, and I can remember just not being able to talk. I remember, just I knew exactly what he was saying, but I couldn't get the words out, and that was hobbling. Just remember having a good little panic attack in the back of the ambulance. So, is your speech slurred? Is your speech stuttery? Are you even making coherent noises? Um, or the flip side of that is, um, does the world sound like the Peanuts, the teacher on the Peanuts? Like you can, bye, Anthony. Have a good time. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Hope you stick around. Well, not today because you got to go. Um, so then you've got the speech. It could sound like it's disrupted coming in, not necessarily disrupted going out. And then you have time, right? Which is, get them to the appropriate healthcare facility as fast as reasonably possible. And in most countries, that's going to be 911 or 999 or however you attract your paramedic people. Well, we've been live streaming now for an hour, so I'm going to go and get up to some kind of trouble in the world and bid you fine people a good day. And on that note, you guys, nice to see you, Ames. Nice to see you, Anthony. And I will talk to you fine people later. Have a great day. Bye bye.